Howdy, everybody.
Going on.
How's everyone doing tonight? What's up? What's up, y'all? Here, I'll let you guys see our names first. The Duke of Orange, Shem. Hope everyone's having a good night here. Happy Saturday, Saturn's Day, Satan's Day. I hope we're all making good decisions out there, guys. Okay. Uh, yeah. It's January 4th. I've been busy from, Christmas, New Year's, and stuff, but I've been meaning to do a year in review stream. It was actually, I almost just said your real name there. It's that's good weed. That's Shem's idea to do a year in review. And I'm such a humble guy. I was like, come on, Shem, people don't want to see that. But no, fuck that. Just kidding. We're gonna look at everything I've done this year, we've done this year. We all did it together, but yeah, some of little tidbits, filling in the gaps between videos, stuff like that, and showcasing what we've done this year, what we've accomplished. And yeah, so that's where we're at. Shem, what are you up to, man?
Been a pretty good year for you. Lots of good information in the videos you've posted. South Carolina, Texas, Jewish history,
Mm-hmm.
the elephants video. It's been a good year, so lots to go over tonight. It's been a good day for me so far, though. Spent some time with my sister, got some new books. What about you?
I was working at the bookstore today, as I always do. And yeah, it was a busy day. Had a family from Finland come in, which was really nice. And sorry if there's noise in the background. They're having like a jazz concert across the street. Can you hear that?
Barely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, nothing really. Just worked at the bookstore. That's what I did today.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Making some money, that Christmas money coming in. So yeah, what video did you want to go over first?
Let's just pull up my page and just go from the beginning of January 2023. 2024. 24.
So the YouTube does this annoying thing where it says 1 year ago for things that
Yeah.
are
So here, come
longer
up.
than a year.
Come up. Come up.
Pocahontas wasn't this year?
Yeah, go down. No, that was probably at the end. That was like fall.
Okay.
That was fall time. Check.
Pocahontas was November 10th, so you're right.
Click on the alligator one. What's the date on there?
December 1st, 2023, so we're getting there.
Okay.
So it must have been the Gravedigger in New Orleans with the Black Flags X singer, maybe. I feel like that one was posted a couple days later, though. December 24th. So, yep, next video is going to have to be it. Truth about Miami's 10-foot tall giant aliens. January 10th, 2024. Okay. So this was the beginning.
Bingo. There we go. So who remembers? It was in the news. It was literally on all the news channels for some weird reason. There was reportings of an alien sighting in Miami. And this wasn't like a UFO sighting, which is why everyone went crazy over it. And I guess it was like a New Year's like celebration. There was fireworks all over the place. And apparently amidst these fireworks, someone snapped a video of a 9-foot Nephilim. People were saying this like it's a 10-foot tall alien, it's a tall Nephilim, it's whatever. Personally, I didn't see anything. That's what the video is kind of about. But everyone was like, yeah, it's a 10-foot alien, 9-foot alien, fallen angel sighted in Miami. It's like, where are people getting this from? This video kind of shows something, but it's definitely two cops walking, and it just looks like a taller person, like a taller thing. It's really stupid. Some people think that this video doesn't even have anything to do with like what was being reported. But I made a video in response to this, and I kind of debunked it a little bit. But I used it as a good opportunity to talk about the real UFO sightings in Miami, in like Opelika, suburbs of Miami area. And
Yeah,
then
around that school, right?
yeah, it's one of America's most well documented UFO sightings, real UFO sightings, not a helicopter, not a experimental test craft, or it could have been, but it wasn't like a Area 51 situation. There is a couple Air Force or just like airports in general over there 70 years ago, whenever that happened. I think it was in like the 60s. So 60 years ago or so. But there's a lot of these alien sightings, UFO sightings in Florida over the decades. Florida is actually a hotspot, not the whole state, but certain spots are very, very big hotspots. So I used this kind of whole reaction to this, hysterical story, and just kind of threw in giant pilled a lot of people, UFO sighting pilled a lot of people.
Yeah, showed evidence of real giants in the area. Did you want to check out the clip, a little bit of the clip of the sighting from the school?
Yeah, let's do that. Good idea. In the suburbs of Miami, one of which had over 300 recorded witnesses. The following was printed in the Bradenton Herald on Sunday, August 6th, 1967. Quote, "It was thrills, chills, chaos, and pandemonium the day the UFOs visited Crestview Elementary School in Miami. The date was Friday, April 7th, 1967. It was better than Star Trek Outer Limits, The Invaders, or Twilight Zone, because this time it was for real," as 12-year-old Andy Cohen exclaimed.
Cohen, huh?
Witnesses were all over the place. Several hundred students, 3
Easy,
teachers,
Shem.
and a number
Easy.
of residents of the area near the school saw the one big cigar-shaped UFO, and many saw the second one. The Crestview School is located at 2201 Northwest 187th Street in Northwest Dade County. The UFOs suddenly appeared, all shiny red and silver, in a tree-dotted field behind the schoolhouse a little after 10 a.m. Near the end of the morning recess, the youngsters went wild. Mrs. Virginia Martin, 6th grade teacher, said, "I didn't pay attention to what the children were screaming about at first. I was trying to get them lined up, but they were yelling and pointing. 'You've got to look, you've got to look,' and I did." Mrs. Martin, Bob Apfel, 4th grade teacher, and Miss Marion Waters, 6th grade instructor, first spotted one UFO, which appeared to be hovering
I was
behind
just
a
wait.
pine tree
Pause it
in
real
an
quick.
open field.
I was just, dude. I get so angry at myself sometimes because I listen back to my narrations, and I'm like way too high. Like when I'm doing it, I'm like, man, I'm going so fast. I need to like slow down. But then when I listen back, I'm talking like 1 word per minute. Like,
Yeah, I usually listen to them at 1.75 speed, personally. But I do that for almost every video I listen to regardless, so it's not like it's just exclusive to you. But yeah, I mean, if anyone listening is also indulging in weed, the vibes definitely line up nicely. It's pretty relaxing. But yeah, this is a
no,
Directly.
but hang on. I'm afraid of that John Levi. That guy has a point about the neurolinguistic programming. That's not the right word to use. It's more just like hypnotic, like slow, dramatic talking. I would hate to slip into a John Levy because some of my videos are like that. I'm just like way low energy, but when I catch myself doing it, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. This one's not that bad.
It's soothing. At least it makes you a little bit less flamboyant. I mean,
Nice.
North of the school. It was oval-shaped, Miss Martin said. It seemed to hover. I realized that an airplane doesn't do that. I thought, my gosh, this couldn't be happening.
so yeah, the gist of it is
hang on. I know there's no music. This is one of the only videos I've ever done where I didn't put music in the background like the whole time. So maybe that throws it off a little bit too. But
channeling your inner Robert Seffer. So yeah, that was a pretty good video for anyone who wants to check it out. It's gets into a lot of information. Basically, these kids ended up all witnessing this. You know, the FBI came out, all this stuff is pretty crazy. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would suggest checking it out. Next up, you have this Eden Nephilim Genesis Florida Urban Abundance podcast. Did you want to go over that one or move on to Siesta Keys?
the podcast,
Get the podcast.
pretty good. Yeah, I watched like 30 seconds of it. It's the best produced podcast I've ever been on. Like the camera quality and studio quality.
Yeah, it's weird how this guy barely gets any views, or at least he did when this came out. I don't know if it's changed since then. Because
well, he's more local. You know, he's more Florida oriented too, and like very grassroots type guy. He's not, but yeah, he is well known in Florida. So
shout out to him. Yeah, this is good production quality. Let's check out this part where the images start popping up.
Conquistador over
So
there.
wait, what happened? Wait, we're getting sidetracked, dude. Juan Ortiz, bro. Juan Ortiz, what happened to him?
Juan Ortiz went on, you know, to the coast. He got lured over by the natives, right?
And these were the Temecula.
These were Tocobaga, so they were closely related to the Temecula. I know they're close. It's close.
Okay.
But he got lured on shore because they had been wronged by the Spanish who came before, the Narvaez expedition. And Narvaez expedition went missing, right? They actually looped around Gulf of Mexico and made it to Mexico. Only like 3 dudes, like 8 people max made it, survived out of like a couple hundred. So, but when they went through Florida, they messed with the Tocobaga. And they actually set some of their people on fire and fed the chief's mom. Mom, this is terrible. Fed her to the dogs in front of her.
Your laughing's making me laugh. Wait, all right, so to the mom.
They fed.
Did he at least share the weed with you when you were there?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, we got ripped together. It was fun. I love Jack. He's great. He was at my house a couple days ago.
It seems like some pretty good stuff. You guys are both smiling, which is nice to see.
It was terrible, and they cut this chief's nose off, so they were pissed at the Spanish. The Spanish came back,
Yeah.
and they were looking for the expedition that went missing, and the natives were like, "Well, screw you guys," but they were pretending like, "Hey, come to shore. You know, we're gonna help you find your friends."
Yeah.
So they sent 4 guys to shore. The Indians sent 4 as collateral back to the ship. 4 men, right? 4 Indians to sit on the ship, and then 4 dudes went on to the shore. As soon as the Spaniards made it onto the shore, the Indians jumped into the water and they grabbed the Spaniards. So a couple of those guys, they made them run from the arrows like the Apocalypto game. That's very well recorded. And then Juan Ortiz got spared by
Got it.
by a princess, the daughter of the chief, who was actually a princess. This is the real Pocahontas, by the way. Pocahontas is fake.
Juan Ortiz. Wait. Pocahontas is a fiction from Disney.
Pocahontas was real. Her name. No, I was just piling on. Sorry.
wasn't Pocahontas. That was a nickname. But that Virginia woman, she's not the real Pocahontas. That story was plagiarized by John Smith.
See,
John Smith, Agent Smith. Okay, the name that's most associated with anonymity and the manufacturing of identities. John Smith.
John Smith.
He's the guy that we get all these stories from about early colonial America.
Bro.
And the powers that be would like you to believe that America is a solely English undertaking.
That's the whole narrative.
Undertaken. Oh, you asking?
That's what I'm getting. No.
Who's the most famous Native American? Pocahontas. You know, I've done it. I've
not
taken
the
that survey.
Tocobaga, not the. Wow.
So that's
Dude,
in Florida.
every
very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Did you want to elaborate on anything else that happens in this?
No, but shout out Jack. His company movement is called Urban Abundance. It's called the Urban Souls Podcast. Or Abundant Souls, sorry. Abundant Souls Podcast. But it's Urban Abundance is like his brand. And he does Florida gardening. Like if you want your yard like redone, not like landscaping, more like regenerative agriculture. You know, he'll do plant beds and stuff. Pimp your yard, pretty much. And that's it. Yeah.
So next up, we got the Siesta Key uncovered. America's #1 beach has 99% quartz crystal and sand from
Yeah.
Atlantis.
Here, just let this one play and I'll talk over it. It's not like super exciting. But
Of all the beautiful beaches.
yeah, no, turn the sound off.
One coastal
Completely
island.
Off?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll just, yeah, we can just sum this one up. Siesta Key is the best beach in America. The sand, it's due to the sand. You know, you can disagree. Maybe you say, oh, I need good waves or whatever. But the sand quality at Siesta Key is #1. The beach sand at Siesta Key, Florida is over 99% powdered quartz crystal. Meaning you can take a scoop up off the ground and you look through a microscope, it's 99% powdered quartz. It will be very difficult for you to find pieces of shell or pieces of coral or things like that. And this area is actually the area that got super devastated recently by the recent hurricane. It actually gets hit by a lot of hurricanes. But what's so interesting is that this sand, no matter how hard the beach gets hit, the sand comes right back there. It levels itself out. They say that this sand comes from the Appalachian Mountains, over 500 miles away. Now, we'll get back to the sand and the whole mystery. But when you walk on this sand, it does not get hot. It's so crazy. When you're on the east coast of Florida, I love it here. But when you go to the beach at like noon, the sand is scorching hot. You know, you gotta run across the sand. You gotta like keep your shoes on until you get to the water. It's very hot in most of Florida. Now, the quartz sand, and there's a couple other beaches like this on the west coast of Florida. There's a couple others. But this one is the purest by far. And it's the most anomalous. And it has a big spiritual community. Sarasota, Florida. Siesta Key is like a beach of Sarasota pretty much. And that area, big spiritual community, big drum circles. It's like a drum circle that's gone on for decades. And yeah, very cool place. Very hippie-ish. The Amish love to go to Siesta Key too. It's one of the few places in the world that the Amish and Mennonites will literally vacation to Siesta Key. And you'll see them. I've seen them. You can go there, you'll see Amish people. It's like a guarantee. You'll see them letting loose. They put on bikinis. It's insane. I swear. Hell yeah.
In Ohio, they love going to the amusement parks in Ohio as well. There used to be a place called Wyandotte Lake, named after the Wyandotte Indians.
Yeah.
Every summer, you would see just tons of Amish people going to the water park. It was so hilarious because they didn't take off their clothes there, but
Guys, we're actually planning. Everybody, get out your wallets. Get ready to manifest abundance with the Old World Florida community. We're going to plan a retreat at Siesta Key, quartz crystal healing retreat. And you pay an extra 200, Dr. Longo guarantees some Amish snatch. Who's down? I'll take you. We'll go hang out in the guaranteed we pick up some Amish chicks. Who the fuck is down?
Yeah, it's only $12,000 for the single bedroom, 14,000 for the double.
Yeah.
But yeah, got anything else to say about this bad boy here?
Dr. Beach. Dr. Beach giving me a run for my money. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Got hit hard by the hurricane, but no matter what happens, the sand always comes back. They say it comes from 500 miles away in the Appalachian Mountains, okay? And then it trickles down into the Gulf of Mexico, so we're told, or through the rivers in Florida. And then it comes down the coast of Florida through the Gulf of Mexico. And apparently, for some reason, it all collects right there off Siesta Key Beach. And they don't know why that is. It's some type of magnetic draw. This sand could deposit itself anywhere else. But for some reason, at Siesta Key, you find it with the highest purity. And yep, Destin's a good beach too. There's some other good beaches.
Yeah, I've been to Destin before. It was pretty nice there. All right, so next up we have the Forbidden History of Texas full documentary, which was a pretty good one.
Yeah, this one did pretty well, surprisingly. This was, I think, actually filmed in the end of 2023. But I got invited by Robert Phoenix. Shout out to Robert Phoenix. Good astrologer. One sec. One of the best astrologers in America. He's Texas based, and he invited me to be like the special guest at his astrological gathering, astrological conference. He does that yearly. So I recommend everyone go. It was a great time. And go check out Robert Phoenix's channel. But he invited me to do a little like speech on his live stream. He streams the whole gathering too. And so I went there and I did a little thing about Florida being the Garden of Eden. And it was really about the whole Gulf of Mexico. Like I tied it into Texas a little bit more too.
Ended up leading into the
it was the eclipse
video, the KGC video as well.
Yes, it was an eclipse too. So the impetus for that gathering, kind of, he does it every year, but this one was extra special because it was in the path of the eclipse. So we went to this. Robert recommended we go here after the whole gathering. So this was after. This is just
rock. This is beautiful.
That shit's crazy, dude. Talk about like megalithic remnants. It's insane. Dude, like, how did that get up there? Come on.
It's fascinating. I would have tried to get up there somehow, but is it off limits or something?
No, we went up there. Here, let it play a little bit. So this is just like overviewing the video.
Yeah. Then the intro happens.
And then we went to Rockwall, Texas. But so we went to Texas because of the astrological conference. It was awesome. We crushed it. Robert held a super good event. His speech was really good. And yeah. And then when it was all done,
Robert gave us some good ideas of cool things to see in the area. And he recommended we go to first, there's this place where it's like a replica Stonehenge. And the replica Stonehenge was also in the path of this eclipse. And it's like a kind of a recent creation. Yeah, that place. Now, this was in the path of the eclipse. Perfect. The October 2023 eclipse. And this place is crazy. They found like a limestone, I don't know what to call it, like a table, a slab. They found a slab in their field and they thought it was very interesting and mysterious. And then it's kind of like a Georgia Guidestone situation. It's very murky. It's like a passion project of these two guys. The history isn't super well understood. They just built this for kind of no reason. And then it had to move, and they moved the whole thing, to like a new location. So,
But the new location lined up with the eclipse.
exactly. The new location lined up with the eclipse. This most recent eclipse. Thor at the door was there. Shout out Thor at the door. He was there. A lot of people in the chat were there, actually. And that's the original slab that they found in a field. And then they built the fake monument around it. And they moved the whole thing later. And then they threw in some Easter heads, because why the fuck not? Easter Island heads.
The Moai.
Yeah.
The Hasidic, you know what?
Yeah. Well, there's like Seminole hats, Seminole Indian hats. And they look like Seminole Indian people. This place was crazy. It was cool. That area is very beautiful. Nice hills. But yeah, time for the eclipse. I drove my van over there. We had some interesting issues with my solar panels. There's my buddy Dylan and my buddy, I hate saying buddy, it's so gay. My friend Dylan and my friend Jeffrey. There's Thor at the door. Ayo. There's August, my girlfriend.
NASA.
There's me with my goy goggles on. And we also had an obsidian puck. Dylan had an obsidian puck that he showed. Yeah, you guys will see it. Play it. Play the noise. Play the sound, please.
The noise?
Yeah. Obsidian, for example, can be fashioned into almost any shape and ranges from opaque to translucent. Dylan was lucky enough to have an obsidian viewing glass. Here's what the difference looked like. Now I would like to share something with you that was very unnerving. I have heard stories of strange phenomena accompanying an eclipse, but on this trip we would experience it ourselves. On our little trip from Florida, we brought my camper van and my buddy's camper trailer, both of which use a generator and battery. Immediately after the eclipse had ended, when we returned to the parking lot, we found both of our batteries completely drained and unresponsive. My girlfriend's iPhone was also permanently destroyed after she pointed its camera directly at the eclipse. Many other electronics suffered a similar fate. Luckily, my van's solar panels were still working, and my battery was able to recharge.
Nice.
Though it took months for the display to turn back on, it did regain full functionality. Jeff's camper also returned to normal, but only after a couple months. Speaking of solar panels, this is actually one of the best ways to illustrate what was happening. On a normal, sunny day, the sun is constantly emitting energy onto the Earth. During an eclipse, however, the sun is actually absorbing electricity, not emitting it. Thus, it sucks whatever is in the battery
straight out through the solar panels,
Wow.
like some sort of a celestial vampire. When illustrated simply, free of superstition, one can see why ancient people would have timed certain ceremonies and sacrifices to coincide with solar eclipses. Finding myself amidst a large group of people, all staring together at the sun, it brought to mind a certain group of giant, sun-gazing Native Americans. The portion of the Texas Gulf Coast extending from Galveston Bay southwestwardly to Corpus Christi Bay was once inhabited by a race of abnormally tall, cannibalistic Indians known as the Karankawa. Galveston Island, in early colonial times, was known as the Isla de Malhado, meaning Isle of Doom, and Isla Blanca, meaning White Island. The name Karankawa loosely translates to dog lovers or dog raisers, in reference to the dogs that accompanied them on hunts, swims, and recreational activities.
Now extinct.
Interestingly, this native Texan name is eerily similar to the old Irish word concavar, meaning dog lover.
Very interesting. Check
That's
out
my name, by
the
the way. Concovar.
very close. Let's check out this Enchanted Rock footage. Was there anything before the Enchanted Rock you wanted to discuss? Colony and
No,
giant skeletons.
no, just giants and cannibals in Texas. I'm not super familiar with Texas history, but I dove in a little bit. And yeah, Robert told us to go check out Enchanted Rock, which wasn't too far away. We did that. It was like in the middle of nowhere. And you could see literal like steps. I mean, come on. You see that? Rewind that like 5 or 10 seconds, please. So look up the side of that wall, or along that wall. There's steps. See those?
I think I saw it. Is it? Are you talking about this line right
Yeah.
here?
No, down, bottom left.
One
Come
more
on.
try.
There's steps right there where the mouse is. Those are steps. See?
These are steps.
Can't you see them?
For some reason, I don't see them, but I
Oh
am
my god.
pretty stupid.
Full screen it. Take us. Here, I got it. You don't see that? Play it. You're fucking grandma. You have fucking grandma glasses on.
I don't know. Just, I mean, the angle of what I think a step would look like, just it doesn't look like a step to me.
That's going uphill, by the way. If you can't notice, it might be hard to tell.
I can see
Yeah.
how.
You can't see it looking down from that angle, but walking up, you can see it.
I don't doubt it. I mean, just didn't see it.
And yeah, you can skip through a little bit. There's lots of anomalous shapes and things like that, like straight cracks, straight lines. See that shit?
Yeah.
Enchanted Rock, it's crazy. Apparently, this like mountain makes noise at certain times of the year. It like hums and rings and like groans.
Definitely want to check this place out. If I go to Texas again, have lunch on top of it, a little picnic.
Yeah, it's nice for camping. I think it was almost free. It might have even been free camping there.
What's in the distance there? Is that something?
No, just other little rock formations. That's the biggest thing around. It's anomalous. It's called a monadnock, something like that. Monadnock. Monadnock. It's like a granite bubble that came up from under the crust of the earth, so they say. But the blocks on top are crazy. They're more like sandstone. They're not the granite at the underneath. Or I don't know shit about geology. I shouldn't say that. But whatever is at the top, the big blocks, is more crumbly. What's below your feet is like hard pink granite.
Very out of place.
Mm-hmm. Shit's crazy. It's the only thing around that's like that.
Yeah, you should make a shorter video just showing this site, because I don't think a lot of people know anything about that. Honestly, I mean, it's very fascinating. Just seeing even the image of it is pretty crazy. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have Jackal Island Uncovered, Titanic Indians,
Oh, shit.
Kyla Bleep, and the Federal Reserve. This was a pretty good one as well. Got any summary before we get started?
Play it from the top and just let it play the intro, first couple minutes. Yeah, people say this is my best video of the year. It could be.
I'll be right back, though.
Okay. Shout out to my friend Rustin, who made the music. In 1910, a group of the richest men in the world took part in a secret meeting at Jekyll Island, Georgia, just across the Florida border. The occasion for this clandestine gathering was the conception of the Federal Reserve banking system as a direct remedy to the panic of 1907, the first worldwide financial crisis of the 20th century. Instead of enhancing the stability of American banking, as these men pretended it would, the Federal Reserve would instead cast the entire Earth into multiple world wars and an even more terrible financial crisis, the Great Depression of 1929. However, with the signing of the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, the men involved in that secret meeting at Jekyll Island guaranteed the fortunes of their respective families and business partners for generations to come. As a direct result of this legislation, a majority of humanity is today fiscally enslaved by an international cult of banking elite. In 1994, American author, filmmaker, and Army veteran G. Edward Griffin published The Creature from Jekyll Island, which uncovered the secrecy and motives behind that infamous meeting at the Jekyll Island clubhouse. Although the book is wonderfully written and meticulously researched, it failed to consider the unique Native American history of Southeast Georgia and how ancient Indian magic may have fostered such a despicable deed. It would not be until American preacher and Christian mystic Timothy Bence gave a telephone interview around 2012 about a trip to Jekyll Island just before the 2007 financial collapse that a more insidious connection between the Federal Reserve and ritualistic human sacrifice was brought to light. Bence told of how an unusually tall tribe of Indians, known as the Timucua, native to the area, sacrificed their firstborn children in a nearly identical manner to the Canaanites from the Old Testament, going as far as to reveal that a cottage on the island, once owned by John D. Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest men in the world, had been built on top of the very spot where a sacrificial altar once stood. Although these stories have been touched on by others, I do not believe any have done it the justice it deserves. I found most of these videos to be preoccupied with Hollywood fairy tales, lazily edited, and in one case, they had actually selectively censored much of Tim Bence's
Buy my book, guys. It's like that's the end of the video for the Robert Saffer one. Make sure you buy my book.
interview, leaving out vital connections to Israel's historical record of usury and blood sacrifice, along with almost all mentions of Bence's religious inspiration for exposing Jekyll Island in the way that he did. These videos were also lacking in an intimate knowledge of the Florida-Georgia coastline,
and its native peoples. And on my channel, you can rest assured that you will never see a misleading AI-generated thumbnail or hear an AI-generated script. In light of these shortcomings, my girlfriend and I set out to uncover the forbidden history of Jekyll Island, Georgia, and to verify the story of Timothy Bence by actually going there ourselves. With God's good graces, much prayer and protection in the form of cigar and marijuana smoke, we ventured into what some would consider the most evil place on earth. Despite attempts by some government officials to obstruct the truth from us, we met exactly who we needed to speak with and were granted access to every place that we needed to see, even the restricted ones, all of which we captured with audio and video recording.
Based.
Join us as we uncover the Rockefeller family, J.P. Morgan, the sinking of the Titanic, real-life giants, Indian mounds, golf, occult secret societies, and a few suspicious technological innovations as they relate to the hidden history of Florida and Georgia. This video is lengthy and information dense, so make sure to kick back, spark up, and pour yourself a little liquid sunshine while you're at it. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own.
Talk about an intro. I mean, if that's not enticing, I don't know what is. But yeah, pretty good video. Is there any other parts of this you want to check out? The Tamuki connection with
the part where the guy lets us into the Federal Reserve room was good. And there's an argument that we have with one of the museum workers that was really good. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the connection with the Tamukua people and the Picts is pretty interesting to me. I don't know if you've looked into that at all.
Yeah, and the Duhar tribe of like South Carolina and Georgia.
This is the part though where you go in that Federal Reserve room, right? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't worry about it. I experienced.
Oh no, this is just the interview. Go past the interview.
Yeah, here we go.
No, not here. Keep going. Right there. Go back. Go back. It's the guy in the whatever.
The upper floors.
Fucking two.
At this point, I was not aware of Tim's divine.
Dude, I wish I could fucking.
You gotta start doing timestamps. Sometimes it's hard to remember with these longer ones.
But even then, we remarked to
that if anything that looks like that, the guy in the blue jacket pointing up and showing us around the room. I think it's probably a lot earlier. Yeah, it's way before this. Yeah, keep going.
Presidential suite.
Keep going. Go faster. Go jump around faster in the video. No.
You're asking too much from the Wi-Fi at that point. You know how that goes.
Oh my god. This is probably like cancer to the viewers.
Yeah, for sure. So
all right, just go to the end when we're at the museum. You'll see it just holds one screen the whole time. Not that far at the end, I don't think. Right, no, go to the right.
Bible as
it's like hang on, pause it. No, don't do that. Don't do
I can
that.
assure you, this is no fringe theory.
You gotta start putting time.
There's a page where it's just the Jekyll Island Museum, and it's like 10 minutes.
This guy.
But I think it was just a marketing thing, and we realized what latitude we were on, and they called the bar Latitude 31. And now it's called the Wharf. But that was kind of a nickname that came after it, but now it's official. But it used to be called Latitude 31. And so
on at Cherokee Cottage,
where
his grandmother resided.
Right.
Eddie Jr. would always bring his grandmother Cherokee roses.
Well, yeah, great introduction to the video, but unfortunately, we don't remember where the.
No, I'm gonna find it. You fucking dunce.
Wait, no, this has to be it.
Very first stops
There it
would
is.
be the Federal Reserve Room.
Yes, bingo.
But
Thank
it
you.
happened to be locked. Fortunately, we befriended a concierge by the name of Chris, who ended up treating us wonderfully. He permitted us access to the Federal Reserve Room and was even nice enough to give us a private tour. Chris was more than receptive to some of our perspectives and even allowed me to film our encounter.
Wow.
It's a setup for a meeting, but this is the room. Kind of small, but kind of big. We've got these.
Howdy, Chris.
Hey there. We are in the Federal Reserve Room at the Jekyll Island Club Resort, which formerly the Jekyll Island Club. We're standing on a building that was finished in 1886, and we are standing currently in the Federal Reserve Room, where meetings were happening regarding finishing and penning the Federal Reserve and pushing through Congress, which I heard was on Christmas Eve when all their friends were there, but all their enemies were home with their families.
This guy got fired, right?
And it finally got pushed.
No, he's all
through,
good.
2010, maybe. And then these gentlemen up here are at least the faces of helping push it through, and Senator Nelson Aldridge of Rhode Island, the majority leader of the Senate and the best informed man on financial matters in Congress. And you've got 5 other gentlemen from the elite of the banking and financial world, 1910. A couple of pictures of Ben Bernanke, Alan Greenspan on the Centennial, 2010. Probably a bit of a meeting, but also just ceremonial photo op day. I believe they're just here for one day. And this is the First Name Club letter at the train in New York, and then on Jekyll, some information, basically how to travel without letting the press or anyone know who knew these people, start to write stories.
All right.
Why are these people?
People get the
together?
gist.
They had to travel on separate.
Shout out to
train cars
Chris. Pause it. I thought Chris looked more like Leonardo DiCaprio than anyone I've ever seen. What do you guys think? Back it up a little bit. Maybe not so much from that angle, but he looked just like Leonardo DiCaprio in the Aviator movie. Yeah, a little bit. Matt Damon, yeah, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio mix, maybe a little bit. He was Irish, but okay. Now I'm gonna find it here. I'm gonna find it, show you what timestamp to go to. But if you just look for the part where we go to the museum, it starts at like it's at like 1:45. Appreciate that. So we got let in to see the presidential suite too by this very nice maid.
But I haven't seen any. No.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
We
you're
appreciate
welcome,
it.
welcome,
Made our day.
Me too.
All right, fast forward just a little bit.
which Timothy Bence had made and spoke with some of its employees. So we
There we
little
go.
did
That's
I
good.
that we would be the ones who were made uncomfortable.
You know a little bit about the history in here?
What's
You
your
know
question?
anything about the Indians that were here?
Oh, Lucy's our Indian. It was the Wallies and the, I'm not going to pronounce it right. Chamuqua. I know they were here until about 1500 because once the French and the Spanish came, they were getting smallpox, and then they eventually dispersed and joined other tribes. But that's the extent of my knowledge. We have someone here that actually her degree is in Indian history.
And how can I see her? Or does she
Hang
do-
on, let me see. She might be here.
The first female worker we spoke to was very nice and welcoming, but the so-called expert, whom she brought out to speak with us about the Indians, must have been in a bad mood. My girlfriend and I found her to be snappy, condescending, very dismissive, and in a big rush to end the conversation. But
Takes
I'll
one
let
to-
you decide for yourself.
Takes one to know one, by the way.
Very low birth.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just have some questions.
Sure.
About the Indians.
Okay.
I heard that there used to be like bones on this place. Is that a myth?
It is. So there was a newspaper article in the early 1900s about some in Brunswick, but it was at a time when a lot of those hoaxes came around.
Like tall bones?
Yeah,
Hoaxes?
yeah, they don't exist. They don't exist.
I thought it was peculiar that just from me saying bones, with no mention of their size, she immediately shifted gears to tall hoaxes and brought up a random article from over 100 years ago. She also labeled it a hoax without presenting any evidence at all. Generally speaking, when the legitimacy of a document or person are brought into question, the burden of proof is placed on the accuser, not the accused. What she didn't tell us is that hundreds of such articles were published across the American Southeast between 1850 and 1950, many of which even featured authentic photographs of abnormally large human bones taken from academically led excavations. In fact, 100 years ago, most archaeologists were in total agreement that the skeletons of ancient Floridians were far larger than those belonging to anywhere else. The problem arises from the fact that many of these bones were provably sent to the Smithsonian Institution, and they were never heard from again. In the eyes of academics who will never handle such specimens, these findings drifted into the realm of pure fantasy. Thus, the classification of human remains, which up until World War II had been known as the Florida Colossus, ceased to be taken seriously. We resume.
The museum was, and some people say, like the museum was built on top of an altar. Built on top of an altar.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Even though the expert had not yet admitted it, I could already tell she had gone into full debunk mode against the Tim Bence interview, which I had not even brought up or planned on bringing up. Unfortunately for her, she did not have her facts straight. Tim never claimed that the museum was built on a sacrificial altar. Tim clearly says it was Rockefeller Cottage, which was built on top of the altar. A
Hang on, play it.
swing and a miss for the so-called expert. She then goes on to prattle about how the museum has changed buildings, unaware of the fact that she has already erased her own credibility.
Eviscerated. I think you're muted. Shem, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Damn. I was saying, yeah, that makes perfect sense because she's not an expert. She's just like, oh, this is going to be an easy career. I can become a celebrity if I get this job. If I, like, clearly does not care about the history of these people, or else she wouldn't be trying to cover it up. All right, so.
Play it a little more. Yeah.
A little more.
This
Yeah,
was
it's
the
good.
stables built in 1897. The original building is across the historic district. I have been in that basement. The only thing down there is mold. There's never been any bones on display, and it was all a hoax. It was all a hoax.
As of 2024, no human skeletons are on display at Jekyll Island, nor was I able to contact the museum director from 2007 to see if they had been removed. As for Bentz's description of how the bones were displayed, being left halfway excavated and then incorporated into a historic building, it is corroborated by the fact that the exact same method of preservation was being used on Temecula skeletons at the Fountain of Youth site in St. Augustine, as can be seen in these postcards and photographs. Since she had already brought it up, I decided to ask the so-called expert about height.
So what about the tall Indians?
They didn't exist. They didn't exist.
They existed.
It was all average height humans here.
You sure about that?
Keep in mind that neither of us had said the word giant. All we were discussing was tall Indians, to which
Amazing.
she said they didn't exist. This
No such thing as a tall Indian, guys. Unbelievable. Yep. So check out that video. It's a pretty good one.
No,
Jam
keep
packed.
going. Keep
Keep
going.
going?
This is good.
is
Yeah, it's
simply
good stuff.
untrue. Tall Indians were well documented all across the United States. Those of Florida and Georgia, in particular, were especially large. Muskogee, Creek, and Seminole men, for example, were known to average close to 6.5 feet and are the closest living relatives to the now extinct Temecula. For reference, the average height of white Americans around 1900 was 5'8". In fact, any old trip to Florida will show that the Seminole Indians are very tall to this day. The same can be said for the Muskogee,
Yeah. So
Cherokee, and Creek Indians.
keep it going. Just let it play. Clearly debunker. Like every Seminole that was photographed up until like 1960 was well over 6 feet tall. Like, and we'll just
From the Savannah area, who was measured at 6'8". They must
Never
have never
existed.
seen the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest, which featured the 6'7" Muskogee actor
CGI,
Will
clearly.
Sampson. Nor had they been following the promising basketball career of the 6'5" Seminole Indian, Truston Pierce.
Not real.
dunked on that bitch. So like my height is shorter. Or...
Shorter at the time, probably, just because of environmental factors and things like that.
She doubled down and this time blamed it on environmental factors. At this point, it became pretty clear that she literally has no idea what she is talking about, as
DEI.
North Florida and South Georgia abound in some of the most nutritious plants and seafood known to man, not to mention the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world. Even Ales Herdlicka, the first curator of anthropology for the Smithsonian Institution, remarked on the extraordinary size and density of bones belonging to ancient Floridians as being a direct result of the abundant food and spring water in his 1922 Anthropology of Florida. She must not have read that one in college.
Just so you know, there are some bones in FSU.
Oh, really?
Far larger than mine.
Well, not here.
I could touch, you could touch.
All of the Wendover postcrania is kind of housed in these cabinets, and the crania is just around the corner. So just to kind of show you some of the ideas about the preservation, right? This is one of the males, adult males, that's absolutely massive. These individuals were very large. And preservation is just so immaculate that it's hard to believe that these are 8,000 years old. I mean, we've had researchers come in here and say, "Are you sure that they're this old?" They really could be a lot younger. So even just compared to me, right, in terms of a hip placement, my knee is up here, and I'm 5'11". So these are really.
So yeah, 5'11". This guy's. Yeah,
Yeah.
the only bones that chick was worried about was BBC in college because she clearly doesn't give a fuck about history.
Yeah, I think she mastered in Johnny Walker and BBC. I think that's what she got her degree in.
Oh my god, this class is so annoying. I just want to go to Starbucks. All right, so next up we have. Is there anything else you want to go over in this video?
No, that's it. Those are the highlights. It's a long video, real long video. Lots of good parts, like 3 big, different stories kind of going on.
We got the Radium Springs uncovered South Georgia's radioactive natural wonder with healing benefits? Question mark.
Yep. While we're in Georgia, we hung out with my friend Jeffrey, went to Radium Springs. This is a spring in South Georgia that is literally radioactive, and the water glows blue. It's like glowing Powerade blue. And this is still technically part of the Florida aquifer system, the greater Florida aquifer. And yeah, super, super cool. There's radium springs in Florida too. Different, they pop up in different places. But this one, just seeing the water there, it is magical. It's something out of a fucking science fiction movie. It's like a superhero movie. It's crazy. The water's glowing blue. We have some of that like glowing blue effect here in Florida. Nothing like this, admittedly. This is like fluorescent. I mean, just look at that.
That looks amazing. Radium Girls. My sister bought that book earlier.
Yeah. And of course, they try and scare people. But a lot of people some say that radium is like the fountain of youth, that it reverses aging, it speeds up cell growth in a good way, maybe in a bad way too. You got to know what you're doing with it. But there are literal radioactive catfish in
they don't seem to mind too much
in Radium Springs. Yeah, place is sick. That's pretty much it.
Recommended vacation spot.
Yeah, you can't go in, and it's kind of closed a little bit. It's like a public park around it, but you can't go in it.
Well, up next we have the Ormond Beach uncovered, Rockefeller, owl worship, and LGBT Indians.
Yeah, here. Play the first intro again. Just let the intro play. Pause it. This is a sequel to the Jekyll Island video, by the way, guys. A lot of people just stopped the story at the Titanic and the Federal Reserve getting signed into effect. Well, that story keeps on going because they just moved to Florida. Rockefeller sells his place in Jekyll Island and moves down to Ormond Beach, Florida, also in the territory of the Timucua Indians. Same group from Jekyll Island over to Tampa Bay, over to Ormond Beach. And Ford spent time at Ormond Beach, Edison a little bit, not too much. They would visit Rockefeller there. Flagler, of course, developed all the railroad on the east coast of Florida, business partner of John D. Rockefeller and his brother, William Rockefeller. And Flagler and his half-brother or stepbrother were like the 2 co-partners in Standard Oil. And they developed most of the east coast of Florida with their railroad. And yeah, so most people stop at 1914, and there's all these good videos about the Jekyll Island fiasco. But this is part 2. That literally nobody on the internet, I can say that with no cockiness, that nobody on the internet has talked about what happened after. Rockefeller moved to Ormond Beach, and the story keeps going. Let's hit it.
Did you take that footage?
I don't think so.
On May 23rd,
I took this.
1937, the founder of Standard Oil and wealthiest man in America, John Davison Rockefeller Sr., was pronounced dead at 97 in his mansion known as the Casements at Ormond Beach, Florida. Though the Rockefeller dynasty is widely recognized to have begun in his home state of Ohio, the majority of truth-seeking Americans are not aware of the fact that John D. Sr. spent his final 2 decades of life wintering in the great state of Florida. In fact, Rockefeller, along with Standard Oil co-founder Henry Flagler, actually pioneered the art of retiring to Florida. In my recent Jekyll Island Uncovered video, we discussed how the Rockefeller family constructed a cottage just over the Florida state line, in the footprint of an ancient Indian mound created by an extinct race of extraordinarily tall and heavily tattooed Native Americans, known as the Timucua. So too was the Jekyll Island Hotel, erected in the footprint of the ancient Indian council house. The Timucua were known to sacrifice their firstborn children on altars, in a manner nearly identical with the Canaanites of the Old Testament, and it was these exact 2 ceremonial centers at Jekyll Island which were chosen as the locations for the conception of the Federal Reserve banking system, as described in The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. In this video, we will follow up these revelations by continuing the story precisely where it picks up with the dissolution of Standard Oil, the sinking of the Titanic, and Rockefeller's purchase of the casements at Ormond Beach, Florida. Just as with his Indian Mound cottage at Jekyll Island, his mansion at Ormond Beach was also constructed in the midst of an ancient ceremonial mound complex, again belonging to the now forgotten Timucua, Jekyll Island being the northern extent of that tribe's domain, and Ormond Beach being the southern. We must then ask the question of why would a man like Rockefeller want 2 separate residences so near together within the same climatic zone and tribal territory? After my girlfriend and I traveled to Jekyll Island to film my recent video there, exploring Ormond Beach was the next logical step. In doing so, we were able to uncover a number of links between the Rockefeller family and the Timucua Indians of Florida, which have never before been brought to light. Things like the underwater discovery of a 10-foot tall wooden horned owl statue not far from the Rockefeller residence, carved by ancient Indians. For those in the know, it goes without saying that this ancient Floridian totem pole is more than reminiscent of the Minervan owl statue at Bohemian Grove, where simulated human sacrifices are held, with hundreds of world leaders in attendance. In consideration of these facts, it may terrify you to find out that John D. Rockefeller Sr.'s favorite poem went a little something like this, quote, "A wise old owl sat on an oak. The more he saw, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why can't we be like that wise old bird?" End quote. Not far from Rockefeller's Ormond Beach mansion lived a tribe known as the Jororo, which translates to people of the owl.
Joe Rogan.
This is just
They
the tip
were
of the iceberg
ancient
when it comes to the
podcasting
owl
people
connections.
Ancient podcasters, the origins.
So make sure to stay tuned until the end. By analyzing the links between the Timucua tribe of Florida and the Rockefeller family even further, we will also uncover the ancient Floridian origins of the LGBT agenda,
That's nothing to brag about, bro.
plaguing mankind of late. Though criminally neglected by the history textbooks and Hollywood movies alike, the Timucua were one of, if not the first Indians contacted by Europeans in mainland America during the Age of Discovery. And it is said that up to a third of their adult population was hermaphroditic or transgender. It should not surprise us to find out that though the Rockefellers have masqueraded as a conservative Christian family, they, along with their foundations, have long been proud supporters and financiers of the LGBT agenda. In fact, it has been argued by many that the Rockefeller family personally pioneered the movement by covertly participating in it themselves. All this and much more will be presented here in video format for the very first time. During our time in Ormond
Dudes.
Beach, we would also
Straight up dudes.
Dude, that reminds me, we need to do that ranking of the first lady of the United States video sometime soon.
Hell yeah.
also witness one of the strangest weather events that I have ever seen in Florida. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own. Now enjoy.
Yeah,
Nice.
quite the
Yeah.
intro.
That
owl thing is fascinating too.
Oh yeah, the owl stuff is crazy. The LGBTQ. That the intro pretty much sums it up. The other good part here would be we do like another micro, audio only, talking to one of the people who works there. She was very friendly, and she told us, yeah, there's a basement here too, and like not many people are allowed down there, but there is a basement, and that's where Rockefeller. He didn't die in the basement, but he died in this house, in one of the wings of this house, and I think I forget, but he died at that house, and there's some cool connections with a sulfur spring across the way. Also, just like Jekyll Island, he's in the middle of a group of Indian mounds, and there's a sulfur spring across the canal, across the intercoastal. I met a guy there who said he was like 70. I swear he looked like he was 50. And he says he drinks this sulfur water from across. Yeah, that he has it piped into his house.
You want to listen to this little bit conversation or move on, because we do have quite a bit of videos to get through still.
No, yeah. Let's just move on.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Next up, we have the magic mushrooms of Florida.
Yeah, we don't have to spend too much time on this one. I'll just talk over the intro. This is a shot from the Garden of Eden in Apalachicola Valley, Florida, on the border with Florida and Georgia state line. And this video is just about how there are magic mushrooms native to Florida. Not many people know about that. Not many people talk about it. But psilocybin is native to Florida. It grows there naturally. And also, there's a Amanita persicina. So everyone knows about Amanita muscaria, right? The fly agaric. Well, this is Amanita persicina. It's the same thing, except it's peach colored instead of red. Yeah. And there's lots of cool little mushroom rabbit holes in Florida. Like there's this one type of mushroom that is nicknamed, or it has truffles, like they call it sclerota. I don't know how to say it, but the word is like sclerota. It's like a truffle. So part of the mushroom grows underground, and it's fire resistant. And it kind of like, I don't know how to say it, if it depends on fire or if it uses the fire or if it's fireproof. But basically, the mushroom doesn't just spread through poop. It can also spread after a fire happens. This mushroom is kind of adapted to like grow in places that just got burned down. And so it has like this phoenix-like property to it. And the nickname for those truffles is the philosopher's stone. And look at this one. In the garden, we have a grail mushroom, like a grail cup mushroom at the Garden of Eden trail. Literal holy grail at the Garden of Eden.
It's not poisonous? Is it poisonous at all?
It could be. I don't know.
you could literally drink out of it if not.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's what some people think the Holy Grail was. It's a mushroom that was
laced with some sort of psilocybin or something.
No, it was just a mushroom cup that you'd fill with water. You drink the water, you get a little bit of a mushroom.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it has a little bit of like that rub off of psilocybin.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. It's the first time I've ever heard that before.
And that philosopher's stone is a type of psilocybin. Psilocybin tampanensis. Tampa. It's around Tampa. But yeah, so lots of cool stuff with the mushrooms. We quote the Bible. We kind of go into the stoned ape theory a little bit. We talk about the serpent and mushrooms, how this one's one of my favorite things I've ever found out, like this year, was that certain snakes actually get their toxicity from mushrooms and poisonous frogs in the environment. And that even poisonous frogs sometimes get their poison and toxins from things like mushrooms. That
Wow.
that the toxicity or venom of certain animals, it actually gets boosted by if they're eating poisonous things and they're kind of into they seek out like poisonous foods. Like certain snakes and certain frogs will eat poisonous mushrooms or chew on things that are toxic in order to increase their poison. Go look this up. It's crazy. And there's that many snakes have a special connection with mushrooms, that some snakes will wait around mushrooms, on top of mushrooms, under mushrooms. They'll wait near them. So if there's a snake that does not produce their own venom, they'll kind of use this tactic where they'll wait near a mushroom, and flies or bugs that come close to this mushroom, they'll use it as like bait. So flies or bugs that'll come close to the mushroom, they'll get delirious or get high. They'll start tripping because they're so small that just being in proximity to the mushroom can get them high, loopy. And I don't know if that's just the spores, if the spores are psychedelic themselves, but that's a fact that insects will become delirious around mushrooms sometimes, and that certain snakes will prey on them in that state. And you can see how Genesis, the narrative in Genesis, is kind of spelled out in that relationship between the snake and the mushroom. I don't believe in evolution, but the stoned ape theory being used as a lens to look at the Garden of Eden, to me, it's very eye-opening. To quote Genesis itself, their eyes were opened. How many fruits can open your eyes? How many fruits can make you wise as gods? How many fruits have a special connection with a snake? And how many fruits can be in the midst of a garden? You know, spread out through the whole garden, or kind of amongst the garden. That sounds like a mycelium network. And yes, so artwork, there's lots of artwork that shows snakes having a connection with poisonous mushrooms.
You sorry, I just saw that TikTok chick a second ago. There she is.
Yeah. Oh, play it. What do I say about her?
Navel gazers. But those
Rewind it a little.
ego death has been heavily watered down by pretentious navel gazers. But those tripping on mushrooms frequently report a feeling of death, overcoming.
Just so brief. Just knowing that you've seen the videos and you know what to talk about. But yeah, that's fascinating, dude. Well said. All right, so next up we have ancient elephants prove Florida was Atlantis. This is a good one, except for the ending. The part where you talk about the elephants being raised is kind of hard to get through because it's just so.
We'll watch the interview with Mr. Fine, whatever his name is, Feingold or some shit. Play the beginning on this one too.
This is Dr. Narco Longo with the Florida Department of Magic. Around the year 360 BC, a Greek philosopher by the name of Plato committed to record the foundational account for the legend of Atlantis. From the depths of the Mediterranean to the highest peaks of South America, man has largely searched in vain ever since for the remnants of that phantom empire.
On this channel, we have even entertained and largely substantiated the notion that the Florida Peninsula was one of its major epicenters. Evidence for such would include the world's largest concentration of ancient megalithic ship anchors, known as saxarstones, which can be found in the exact vicinity of the most Greek city in the Americas, Tarpon Springs, Florida. Keep in mind, Atlantis is a Greek myth. In addition to the multitude of Greek words contained within ancient Indian toponyms, the abnormally tall natives of the American Southeast can be firmly linked to ancient Greeks, not only linguistically and culturally, but genetically. It is difficult to fathom that the Greek pantheon was inspired by anything other than the lightning capital of the world, the hurricane capital of the world, the seashell capital of the world, the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world, the sinkhole capital of the world, the fishing capital of the world, the boating capital of the world, and the shark attack capital of the world. Renowned American psychic Edgar Cayce also fingered Bimini, a small island off the Florida coast, as a central hall of records for Atlantis, which was supported by the subsequent discovery of the Bimini Road in 1968. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is another commonly proposed location, but Plato tells us the greater Atlantean continent was larger than Africa and the Middle East combined, not a narrow chain of presupposed islands. Flat and fertile, Florida's prehistoric coastline identically matches the dimensions given by Plato for the great southern plain of Atlantis, measuring 555 kilometers north to south and 370 kilometers east to west per 11,600 years ago.
This is huge,
The
guys.
fact that the horse is universally recognized as having quote-unquote evolved in the United States over millions of years ago, to the point of near domestication, then disappeared in the precise time frame for Plato's catastrophic fall of Atlantis, 9,600 BC, only to appear in Eurasia a mere few thousand years ago, fully prepped for domestication, serves as an archaeological nail in the coffin for any and all clinging to a Mediterranean, South American, Pacific, or even Northern European homeland for the Atlanteans. And thus we arrive at the topic of tonight's presentation: elephants. In addition to confirming the presence of horses in the Atlantean homeland, Plato's detailed account assures us that elephants abounded there too. Such a criteria has been conveniently avoided by researchers, as it immediately disqualifies nearly every popular candidate for the island and continent of Atlantis.
Position, please.
However, the presence of
Mango smoothie with the $9.99. We was Floridians and shit. Man, we was Floridians and shit.
I gotta get in the zone here.
Motherfucker, we was taming elephants and shit up in this bitch.
Wait, there's... See that video? I posted this video that was... Reposted this video on Instagram. That was fucking hilarious. It was pretty much like that.
Dude, man, we tamed them horses, bro. You ain't know shit about them horses till we tamed them.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Give me one sec.
Y'all wouldn't know shit about elephants if it wasn't for us, bro. Y'all wouldn't know
Talk.
shit about them elephants, bro.
Talk, Shin.
Just gonna keep playing the video.
Of elephants further bolsters the case for Florida, together with the greater American continent. For those unaware, Florida is widely considered the mecca of mastodon, mammoth, and American elephant fossils. It should not surprise us to find out that the largest living elephant herd in the Western Hemisphere is today found in Florida. Miami Beach was actually built by elephants. In this video, we will uncover the hidden history of elephants in Florida and ancient America by examining things like first-hand reports of living and breathing American proboscideans, Native American cryptozoology, the pertinent opinions of Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln, their use in the American Civil War, the Ringling Circus being headquartered in Florida, the fact that all 7 of the Ringling brothers were master masons of the Scottish Rite, the Republican Party mascot, their use as emblems in the American Southeast, and the archaeological findings of Florida, which overwhelmingly support an Atlantean connection. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own. Now enjoy.
All right, Shem. I just sent you a message. Can you play it real quick? Can you pull it up? It's a reel.
Yeah, give me 1 second. But did you have anything else to say about the Florida elephants?
Elephants are crazy. What, America has something like 500 elephants at most, and like 90% of them are today in Florida. In terms of ancient times, I think a lot of people miss this one. It's not like a eye-grabbing topic, really, but the circus connections are crazy. Yeah, let's watch this little clip first, and then we'll watch the ending portion on it. It's good. Oh, sorry.
Pulling it up right now.
Reminded me of that.
Oh no, you have it on Instagram.
Yeah. Who cares?
I can't. I'm not logged in Instagram, so
Okay,
give me 1 second.
here. No, I got it. I'll present. Does it have to be Chrome?
To play the audio, it does, yes.
Yeah. All right. Talk. Cover me.
The elephant situation is pretty crazy in Florida. I don't really know what to say about that. The only thing I've looked into in regard to that is that some sources say that the Mongolians came over to Peru and brought the elephants with them when they came over from that situation. I don't know if you've heard about that before.
Who? Mongolians?
Yeah, like they were saying that the Incas were founded by the Mongolians and they came over here.
Well, I mean, who knows? I do cover in this video, like in South America, they do have like elephant statues and elephant, like pictures of elephants. So either someone came here who had elephants and they made artwork about it, or some people were alive so long ago that they saw living, breathing mammoths or mastodons. Oh shit, I'm sharing my screen right now. Hey, hang on.
Giving that private info out. Yeah, there's a couple books that just talk about the foundation of America and the possibility that the Chinese or the Mongolians came over long before, and they mention, I can't remember the name of the book off the top of my head, unfortunately, but they mentioned that they brought elephants with them on these giant ships. Pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, Instagram is very annoying with this making you log in type stuff.
Yeah, we're getting there. Super lame. They want to own you.
I just made an Instagram 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I can't remember, but so I haven't logged in on my computer yet, to say the least. Whatever we did the last stream, that's when I made an Instagram account, so we could look at the improbable dreamer.
Okay, here, you ready?
Yep, let's get it.
How do I full screen?
It doesn't on Instagram. It doesn't. This is the best you can get. Unfortunately, you can't zoom in or anything. It just it'll zoom in, but it'll make the video the same size.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Used to build the pyramids. How they used to do that? They used to be 90 fucking feet tall, nigga. They used to eat and drink the sunlight every day. Pray to that bitch. Nah, we used to pray to the sun, nigga. The sun was our friend. Elephants, we locked in with them, bitch. 100 niggas deep, let's get it. Yeah, this bitch finna have Wi-Fi, air conditioner, it's an elevator downstairs. Hey, get to work. Get the fucking work. That's how we did it. Nah, I remember. I was there. Fuck is you? I was one of the tallest niggas out there, bitch. I used to put the gold at the top. You remember the little gold at the top of the bitch? That was me, nigga. Fuck, that's me right there, holding that big slab down. I used to draw on that bit, these hieroglyphics, nigga. You don't know nothing about no fucking hiero shit. All you know is you eat a gyro. The niggas say how they used to build the pyramids, how they used to do that, how they used to do that. They used to be 90 feet tall, nigga. They used to eat and drink the sunlight every.
Hold on, play it a little bit longer. There's one part I have to hear again because I forget what he
day.
said.
Pray to that bitch. Nah, we used to pray to the sun, nigga. The sun was our friend. Elephants, we locked in with them, bitch. 100 niggas deep, let's get it.
There it is.
Yeah, this bitch finna have Wi-Fi, air conditioner, it's an elevator downstairs. Hey, get to work.
Locked in with elephants. We locked in with elephants. That's hilarious as fuck. There's no way this guy's serious. Just
no, I think he's trolling a little bit.
This is top tier trolling.
It's funny.
Chops to that guy. That's amazing. All right, so next up we have.
Oh wait, let's watch the little part with the guy, the circus owner at the end. Can we?
Yeah.
Por favor.
Except I don't know exactly when it starts because this doesn't have timestamps again either. But this chick, this is the part where this chick pissed me off so bad. She was like using the elephant for clout on TV.
Oh, go back. See, no, go back a little bit more. Yeah. So this is the scene, and go to the beginning of this scene.
Almost there. The chick right before this, though, she was incredibly annoying because she was using the elephant for like clout. She's like, "Oh, I didn't visit him for 18 years, but I do care about him just because you let me be on TV to talk about it. But for some reason, I never went back." All right, so here we go.
For the next cast of Circus Sensations.
You won't be seeing elephants, tigers, or lions, but after a 7-year break, Feld Entertainment is back and betting on a reimagined version of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus. Joining us right now is Kenneth Feld. He's the CEO of Feld Entertainment. Good morning to you.
Morning.
I literally, pause it real quick.
I did, and it's politically incorrect.
I literally just dropped a penny onto the ground by accident. I think that's kind of fitting.
To say, but I enjoyed the elephants a lot as a child. I just want to say it loud and proud. So what are you doing now?
What we're doing, we've relaunched Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey, and we are opening in Brooklyn tonight at Barclays. And the show is completely different. It is reimagined for audiences today and tomorrow.
What does that mean?
It means that the scale is larger than ever. And when you go in and you look at what we have, it's different. So you're not going to go in and think a preconceived idea. It's so different. And it's really like the ultimate playground. And we have performers, 75 performers from 18 different countries. And what they're doing is extraordinary. And what we want is people in today's world to have simple fun. And that's what this is. We're non-lingual. Everybody can enjoy it. And it creates a conversation on the way home. And that's the beauty of it. And the new Ringling, the pace is great. The acts are extraordinary, the performers. And it's something that is inspiring, I think, for young kids that people can do all this stuff. And it's amazing, and it gives them hope.
So this is more, how much more of this is now, this is
them hope.
More human stunt-based than anything else. Is that a fair thing to say? You probably don't like that to say
but
that.
It's more than just that. It's the sense of humor. It's the feeling. It's an excitement, and it doesn't exist anyplace else. That's the key. That it's unique. When you go into Ringling, there's nothing else like it. And that's true today in this reimagined thing. And the way we've done it, people are excited. I mean, since the beginning of the year, we've played not just with Ringling, but all of our stuff. People want to go out. It's between 500,000 and over 1 million people every single week since the beginning of the year.
Clowns are okay, aren't they?
Humor is good.
No clowns?
No, they are comedians. They are funny people.
Oh my God, are clowns canceled? Why did clowns get canceled?
Because they don't want to scare people with white, crazy makeup and red noses and things like that.
People with white, crazy makeup and red noses and things like that. People with white, crazy makeup and
red noses and things like that.
And then I was thinking you could do dogs. Couldn't you? Dogs are happy to be doing those tricks.
We do have a dog. We have a robotic dog.
Well, then just
amazing. Great choice.
Yeah, and just so you know, we're ripping on him because that's the guy who's responsible or allegedly but like tons of the whole video's about it. Tons of cruelty. If you think factory farming's bad, bruh, they beat these elephants with like,
dude, it's disgusting.
with like hooks and
I almost threw up listening to that
shock them
shit.
all.
I
Yeah.
texted you. I remember watching the video and I texted you. I was like, dude, you could have given me like a warning before I watched this shit because this is fucked up.
Yeah.
But okay, so next up we got the Knights of the Golden Circle, Lincoln's Assassins, Fast Food, and the Kodesh.
Yeah.
Which
Play
is
it.
one of the better ones, in my opinion. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think I left the music a little too loud for most of the video, which I
listened to it on headphones. I didn't notice.
Okay, that's good. On the night of Good Friday, April 14th, 1865,
So, yeah, this is epic.
American President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at the Ford Theater in Washington, D.C. by the young and handsome actor John Wilkes Booth. While this narrative has been ridiculed, weaponized, and outright denied by some as propaganda, there is one aspect of the Lincoln assassination that has never received the attention it deserves. Were you aware of the fact that John Wilkes Booth and all of his direct co-conspirators belong to the same secret society? That's right, an occult order known as the Knights of the Golden Circle, or KGC, an unofficial offshoot of the Freemasons and Knights Templar, whose main objectives included secession from the North and a full-scale colonization of the Gulf of Mexico and Latin America, to serve as a so-called slave empire. Their membership may have reached as high as 300,000, and you will be astonished to discover just how many central figures of the Civil War were among them. What few Americans even know the KGC existed probably learned of their involvement in the seizure and stashing of federal gold, as fictionalized in the second installment of Disney's National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. Jesse James is also said to have been a member. A few of the real-life caches have been unearthed, valued in the millions, but most remain undiscovered. If that weren't interesting enough, the Ku Klux Klan is known to have risen from the ashes of the KGC after the Civil War, inheriting much of their culture and wardrobe. The phrase Ku Klux actually comes from the Greek word for circle, as taken from Knights of the Golden Circle. Klan members would also retain the designation of Knight.
That flag.
So, why am I talking to you from a Kentucky Fried Chicken? As you will soon find out, a disturbing connection exists between fast food chains like KFC and the KGC, also founded in Kentucky. Colonel Sanders himself was even a 33rd degree Master Freemason. For those unaware, the racial stigma surrounding fried chicken and black Americans began during the Civil War, but it was cemented by the 1915 film Birth of a Nation, which glorified the KKK to critical acclaim. While I am not the first to shed light on the KGC or KKK, their undeniable influence on some of America's most popular fast food chains has never before been presented to the public. But what's the motive? Well, isn't controlling the food supply and exploiting minimum wage exactly what a cabal of disgruntled, well-connected ex-slaveholders would seek to do after whips and chains were no longer an option? Such themes were covertly highlighted by a 2017 film titled Kingsman: The Golden Circle, set in Kentucky, in which the main antagonist, an American drug lord, who seems to be modeled after Wendy, runs a diner franchise that uses human flesh in their food, as well as sedatives and nanotechnology, towards the goal of world domination. In my 10-plus years of researching secret societies like the KGC, I have come to the realization that nutrition is the biggest conspiracy of them all. Most would agree that the Civil War is mysterious and fast food isn't great, but by the end of this presentation, we will have uncovered one of America's deepest, darkest secrets, and you'll never look at fast food the same. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own.
Nice. So did you want to check out anything else in this video? Anything to say about it?
No, but the last part is the best, which is the fast food, going through the fast food chains and showing how they all literally, overtly pay homage to the KGC, KKK, or Freemasonry. It's bar none. All the top fast food restaurants
Yeah,
in
and
America.
some of the comments include other ones that weren't in the video, which is even more
Yep.
shocking because you added so much to this, and there's even more that
Yes.
could have been included.
Yes, I only did like 10 of the most
Yeah,
common
exactly.
ones.
No, 10 is still a lot though, because I mean, most places it's like you got what, 14, 15 restaurants total. All right, so next up we have using the 31st parallel north to find the original Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Give us a little introduction or just play the beginning.
This is like a whole. We don't have to watch this one. It's pretty much just talking about how the Garden of Eden. Oh, whatever. Play the first couple minutes. What's up, guys? This is Dr. Longo with the Florida Department of Magic. And I thought I'd show you guys how to find the Garden of Eden. Now, this is the real Garden of Eden, not the fake one over in Iraq. Now, there's lots of reasons why the Garden of Eden is not in Iraq, was not in Iraq. But the biggest one would have to be that Noah's Ark landed in Eurasia, but nowhere does it say that it departed from Eurasia. And just because names like Tigris, Euphrates, Ethiopia, Assyria have been transplanted to Eurasia, just like people do when they get off a boat coming from England to America or England to Australia and so on, so too did these names get transferred. In my opinion, and in the opinion of many, these names were transplanted from the Western Hemisphere to the East. Now, we have great evidence to show for this, lots of which you can find on my YouTube channel, Old World Florida. But this video is going to be dedicated to the 31st parallel north. So, what we're looking at here on screen is the precise region in Iraq where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers are said to split. So, there were 4 rivers in the Garden of Eden, as described in the book of Genesis. 2 of them are said to be in Iraq today. Now, the word Tigris is not used in the book of Genesis, but Euphrates is. So those 4 rivers were the Pison, the Gihon, the Euphrates, and the Hiddekel. So Tigris wasn't in there, but they tell us Tigris is one of them now. I'm not going to bore you with the whole story on that, but Tigris and Euphrates. Okay, so we've got 2 of the rivers, but not all 4. Now, they'd like you to believe that there's 4 rivers. We zoom out a little bit, you'll see some more rivers. But one's going this direction, one goes that direction. It's a fucking mess. This is not what's described in the book of Genesis. Not to mention the fact that it's desolate, dry, arid, stricken with war, lots of other problems. I don't know if this is what I'd expect in the Garden of Eden. So, nonetheless, we're going to zoom in here, and you see they've even got it marked there, the tree of knowledge, things like that. So, this is what they've been teaching us in schools for about 1,000 years or so. But nobody's ever really given much thought to where Noah departed from. Okay, so this is Iraq. This is where the 2 rivers split. Well, the 31st degree parallel north. We're going to click on this little in here. You're going to see 31st degree parallel north. That's latitude. Now, right off the bat, you need to know that most of the world's population chooses to live around the 30th degree latitude, north and south. So the 30th degree north actually has a little bit more of that. And that's kind of what you'd expect if you're looking for the Garden of Eden. That's the most agreeable latitude to the human body. You just can't deny it. Look at maps of population density across latitude. So the northern 31st degree parallel is what we're looking at here, the Tigris and the Euphrates, right where they split. Now,
those who've scanned the world for a equal four-headed river system, as described in the book of Genesis, pretty much come up empty-handed. And the reason that is they're only looking in Eurasia, Europe, Asia, Africa, the Middle East. But I'm going to show you guys. If you keep an open mind, and if you listen to the evidence with open ears, I think you're going to see we're looking at one of the greatest mysteries in biblical history. Because we're going to follow the 31st degree parallel north across the Atlantic. Well, heading there, the first thing we're going to notice is the city of Jerusalem is also on the 31st degree parallel north. Pause it. We pretty much, I think most people have seen my Garden of Eden and Florida videos, but we trace that 31st degree latitude across the Atlantic over to the alleged Garden of Eden, a newly proposed Garden of Eden in Florida. And that's largely the work of Florida's 1936 Republican candidate for governor, L.V. Edison Callaway. He wrote a book in which he claims Florida was the Garden of Eden. Now, the four rivers of Eden are today, to this day, located at the Florida-Georgia state line. Shout out to that gay-ass band, Florida-Georgia line. I think the Illuminati is trying to smokescreen the Garden of Eden with Florida-Georgia line. And I think they broke up this year, too, so uh-oh. But we still, to this day, have four perfect rivers here. And people say, oh, well, what about the flood? You know, wouldn't that all be erased? I don't know. I wasn't there. But I can tell you that these rivers are older than some of these rivers are older than the rivers in the Middle East. And this landmass is about twice as old. The Southeast United States is about twice as old as the whole Middle East. In general. I mean, this is like geology. You can fucking deny this. And I don't place much faith in this. But in terms of what we consider old, the Southeast United States is older than the Garden of Eden area in Iraq. And considering the fertility, the lush vegetation, agreeable climate here, relative peace, relative protection from natural disasters and things like that, bar hurricanes, which are more of a detox in my opinion, that Florida has a lot of what you'd expect to find in the Garden of Eden. And when you combine that with rumors, you know, the origin of its name, Fountain of Youth, La Florida, if you combine the reputation of being the site of the Fountain of Youth with the name La Florida, Land of Flowers, I mean, what are you left with? It's Eden-like. You can't deny that. And L.V. Edison Callaway makes a really good case that the original Garden of Eden was located in Florida, and that this whole thing got mixed up because Noah landed in Eurasia. Everyone knows that. But he did not depart from Eurasia. It's more likely he departed from the Americas. Gopher wood, for example, what the ark was built out of, only grows in Florida, in this exact area of the four-headed river system. What are the odds of that? And that gopher is a native Floridian word, and it only occurs in two languages. Biblical Hebrew, in the Bible, that's what Noah's Ark was said to have been built out of, and that gopher is an ancient Hebrew word. Well, the word gopher went unused and misunderstood for, I don't know, thousands of years, until Florida was settled, and the Europeans met the Indians in Florida and started using some of their words. One of those words was gopher. That's why in Florida you have gopher tortoise, gopher beetle, gopher fly, and you have gopher beetle, gopher this, gopher tortoise, and gopher wood. You have like 5 different gopher species in Florida because that's a native Indian word, native to Florida. I believe it's a Choctaw word or Muskogee word. Muskogee, I believe. And that's insane that word in Hebrew, it's only used one time, and that's in the Bible when Noah builds the ark. And gopher is never used again. They don't know what wood it is. It's never been identified in Eurasia. But gopher wood grows in Florida.
Fascinating. And then you also you also trace the 31st degree parallel over to in Tibet, running off the Himalayas too, right? And it has a 4. So it's, and then you make the point of the possibility that there are multiple examples of this throughout. So pretty fast stuff. But let's move on. Let's move on. The connection between between Jesus and the banyan tree.
Yeah, we don't have to watch this one at all, really. I'll just say we went to Trump's church sometime around Easter. I think it's a little bit after Easter with my friends. My friend James, Jimmy Stingray, who helps out with the channel. And he's here. He's in Florida for part of the year. We went to Bethesda by the Sea Church, which is Florida's. Well, it's Trump's church. It's like the church that Trump goes to regularly in Palm Beach. And we went there. And my very first time being there for a service, I've been there many times, but my very first time attending a service, like start to finish, was around Easter this year. And the pastor, the preacher, Reverend Schenk, just so happens to give a whole sermon. His entire sermon that day was about Jesus and banyan trees. Jesus and the banyan tree, how the banyan tree represents Jesus, because Jesus is God, or Jesus are likened to a tree and a vine. And the Reverend was kind of saying, like, well, tree and a vine, like vines are can be hostile to trees, right? Like, is that really like a great analogy to make? And then he moved to Florida and found out about banyan trees. And banyan trees, it's a tree that grows out of vines. But these vines grow from heaven down to earth. So they get dropped at the peaks of other trees. And then their what would you call them? Their roots hang down like Tarzan roots, and then they touch the ground, and then it builds, like bubbles over and swallows the tree that it started in. And yeah, divine. Jesus is divine. If something's divine. So he didn't know that I was going to be there. It was divine timing, right? He gave this whole sermon, and I was just like jaw dropped.
No, he knew you were going to be there. This Thor at the door says Rev must be an All War Florida Patreon member.
One of the parishioners is a Old World Florida subscriber. So shout out to him. Marco, shout out. But no, they didn't know I was going to be there that day.
So that's quite the coincidence, though. So, all right. So next up, we have the hidden Jewish history of Florida and ancient America. Which,
yeah, this is the one that got me in trouble, guys.
Yeah, it got you in trouble.
Florida is the promised land, and I have the chutzpah to prove it. Today, South Florida is home to the largest concentration of Jews in the world, outside of Israel, and is the state that started Jewish History Month. My hometown of Boca Raton is so Jewish that growing up, most of my friends at a Christian school were actually Jews. They wore a cross on their uniforms, sang in the choir, and even took the Eucharist. But I was at their bar mitzvahs every weekend. My friends in North Carolina, however, had never even seen a Jew. So why exactly is it that the Jewish people flock to Florida? You may be thinking it's the weather, but having fetched the cars and held the umbrellas for thousands of Jewish patrons in my time as a valet, I can assure you that the weather is often their number one complaint. In this video, it will be shown that there is an esoteric and even prehistoric basis for the Jewish people's love of Florida. It has long been theorized that the lost tribes of Israel came to America, and that Columbus himself was Jewish. But not many people are aware that Jews were active in Florida throughout every stage of its recorded history. Too few know that the earliest Spanish ships to Florida had conversos in their crews, and they themselves contemplated the Hebrew identity of its indigenous population. Even fewer know that Florida's very first senator, David Levy Yulee, was also the first Jewish senator in American history. David's father came to Florida in 1821 to establish the, quote, New Jerusalem, a Jewish utopia. Florida's northern state line is actually constituted by the 31st parallel north, the same latitude which runs precisely through Jerusalem itself, and the spot where the 4 rivers of Eden are said to split. Both Tallahassee and Jerusalem are built on 7 hills, and the word Miami has the same meaning in Hebrew as it does the native Floridian language. Now, despite the current political atmosphere, this presentation will not be a debate regarding so-called real or fake Jews, and it is by no means a hit piece or expose. In fact, I will mostly be reading the words of Jewish scholars themselves. With that out of the way, let us uncover one of Florida's greatest mysteries. This presentation is long and information dense, so make sure to kick back, spark up, and pour yourself a little liquid sunshine while you're at it. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own. Now enjoy.
Welcome to Florida, baby.
Yeah, so this is another good one. Yeah, one of the weirdest things about American history is that there were no rabbi in America until 1840. And when they came over here, they were shocked by the Jews that they found here, to the point where the first rabbi gave up because he just didn't think that there could be anything similar to what they had back in Europe using the Jews in America. So it seems like, I don't know, it's just overwhelming because the Jews over here seemingly had more freedom than they did in Europe. Keep in mind, this is only, 40 years after Napoleon. Napoleon was the European leader in history that emancipated the Jews for the first times from the ghettos.
Here. What's the next video? People can go watch that one if they're interested. But
much recommended. All right, so next up we have the evidence of giant humans in ancient Florida.
Yeah. This one also got me in trouble. The giants, nothing gets censored and shadow banned like giant content. Provable giant content, dare I say, to play it.
Yeah, this is an interesting too, because they had a direct audience with Abraham Lincoln, and in Hebrew media during this time period, Abraham Lincoln was called Hanasi Habrit, which is the term used for the great Sanhedrin, for the leader of the Jewish world back in the day. He was literally called that title in Hebrew media at that time period. Very interesting.
Will mark the college basketball debut of Olivier Rio, a 7'9" center at the University of Florida. According to Guinness Records, he is the tallest teenager and the tallest college athlete in the world. Over the next few years, he will creep even closer to Goliath, that 9-foot giant from the Bible, which goes to show that healthy humans are indeed capable of reaching such a height. Though born in Quebec, Rio decided to attend high school at the prestigious IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Judging from his choice of a university, he must have felt at home in the Sunshine State. From the moment I learned of his presence here, I have wondered if Olivier ever heard the legends of giant men from Florida. And no, I'm not talking about the 6'9" Barron Trump, the 7'1" Shaquille O'Neal, or even the 8-foot-plus Jack Earl, but rather the indigenous people of Florida and their prehistoric ancestors, who local legend tells us stood upwards of 9 feet tall. In this presentation, I will prove to you without a shadow of serpent's doubt that men of enormous height once roamed the dunes, glades, springs, and forests of Florida, and that nowhere else on earth is evidence of quote-unquote giants so abundant. Herein will be provided numerous eyewitness accounts, archaeological evidence, reputable newspaper articles, photographic evidence, the affirmative testimony of a Smithsonian anthropologist, ethnologist, a sheriff, judge, mayor, a Florida state governor, American president, and even irrefutable video evidence available only here at Old World Florida, so make sure to stay tuned until the very end.
Yes, quality. Anything else to say about that?
No, but that's the best giant video on YouTube by far. Complete proof. Historical.
Next up, we have the Bimini Road uncovered, Atlantis, Edgar Casey, and UFOs.
Shall I? Hell yeah, that sound like good pussy. Know what I'm saying, Cracker?
Haven't earned nicknames.
I'm about that
like
squishy.
Shit, I'm finna get my PS5 this year, bro.
the sleeping prophet and the father of holistic medicine. American mystic Edgar Casey is today remembered as the most authenticated clairvoyant in recent history. Born on March 18, 1877, to a devout Christian family in Kentucky, Casey displayed extrasensory capabilities from a very early age. Having witnessed an accident that resulted in the death of his grandfather, Edgar later recognized the ability to communicate with his spirit and others after death. Those who met Casey marveled at his ability to digest the entire contents of a book simply by sleeping on it. Around the year 1900, Edgar lost the use of his voice, but miraculously regained it after being introduced to hypnosis. He then developed a career of prescribing remedies and answering questions for clients in a trance-like state, only sleepier. In this sleeping state, Casey was able to summon an expertise on matters which he otherwise had zero experience. Even this impressed the harshest of critics. With topics including medicine, reincarnation, and prehistoric civilizations, the notes of his sessions were circulated as reading material, earning him a worldwide following. Though unjustly labeled a founder of the so-called New Age movement, Casey was in fact a church-going Christian who denounced spiritualism and reread the Bible every single year, but not just by sleeping on it. He is also believed to have predicted the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, 2 years after his death. One of Edgar Casey's boldest predictions concerned the lost empire of Atlantis, which had been a recurring topic of his private sessions and lectures as early as 1931. Casey taught that Bimini, the name given to a small set of islands in the Bahamas, just off the coast of Florida, which held no cultural or political significance, was actually the central location and hall of records for Atlantis over 10,000 years ago. Not many people are aware that the name Bimini was once a name applied to the entirety of Florida, but that's a discussion for another time. In a session dated 1940, Casey implied that a portion of Atlantis would be rediscovered in 1968 or 1969, when a mysterious rock formation was discovered off Bimini by 3 followers of Edgar Casey. In that exact time frame, his reputation as a prophet was cemented. The formation in question is today known as the Bimini Road or Bimini Wall, but its proponents tend to suggest that it was actually a prehistoric breakwater or jetty. It is worth noting that the world-famous Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island, once owned by Donald Trump, was originally opened for a cost of over $800 million.
That bull statue right there. This is at that resort.
I think so. Yes. Yeah, it's
Close by at Bimini, 1968, the same year which Atlantis was prophesied to reappear. Many people became aware of the Bimini Road after it was highlighted in an episode of the Netflix docuseries Ancient Apocalypse, hosted by the fantasy writer Graham Hancock.
Also a lizard.
Great terminology. The guy, I know, it's Brian Forrester.
Though well-funded and thoroughly produced, it surprisingly made zero mention of Edgar Cayce or the immense contributions made by his followers. Neither was it disclosed that Graham's son, Sean Hancock, had actually been an employee of Netflix for a number of years prior.
Damn, I didn't know Graham Hancock was a fucking mud shark. All right. Anything else you want to get to in this video?
Let it finish. Why are you in such a rush, dude?
And today,
I see a mud shark. I want to move on.
he holds a management position at the
Simple
company,
math.
thus giving Graham an unfair advantage over the dozens of researchers that he denied recognition. Hancock has since rocketed to stardom with the help of doofuses like Joe Rogan and Andrew Schultz. Take, for example, the accredited archaeologist and member of Edgar Cayce's ARE, William Donato, who has made a comprehensive study of the Bimini Road since 1974. That's a full 21 years before the release of Graham Hancock's magnum opus in 1995, which, by the way, made zero mention of Bimini. Fingerprints of the Gods marked the beginning for Hancock's career of rehashing the also uncredited Eric von Daniken to an English-speaking audience. When filming Ancient Apocalypse, Hancock stooped so low as to pretend to discover the presence of leveling or wedging stones underneath the larger slabs at the Bimini Road, a feature previously noted by Donato and others decades prior, as you will see shortly. The show also excluded vital evidence such as numerous ancient stone anchors. William Donato was one of the few accredited archaeologists to corroborate the findings of Swiss Floridian mystic John Saxer. Though their findings had initially shocked the world of archaeology, Donato and Saxer had since drifted into obscurity. That is until the release of My Saxer Saga and Saxer Stones documentaries. Today, John Saxer has become a household name in many parts of Florida, but Donato is yet to receive the recognition which he deserves in the quest for Atlantis. It is with pleasure that I now present to you a rare and uncensored video of William Donato detailing his findings at Bimini, long before Graham Hancock had wrestled the limelight for himself. Make sure to stay tuned until the very end to see John Saxer and a number of ancient stone anchors that the nepotists over at Netflix would never dare to show you. As always, the views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own. Now enjoy.
Cool. Yeah, that one was good. I really like that one. I wish that one got more attention. But Donato is
Pizza.
He's a little bit hard to follow along with.
Donato's Pizza. He's honored in Columbus with Donato's Pizza at least.
Tremendous.
Make sure you dislike this video if you're watching.
No, hey. Fucking scumbag. All right, hey, granola grin with the $1. Appreciate that.
Naomi.
Audric. What's up, Audric? How you doing, man? Birthday coming up soon, I think. Audric. Here's with the $5. Here's to a legendary year and on to another. Oh, yeah. Appreciate it, man. 2 Tangies. Naomi with the 1999 super sticker. Oh, yeah. super sticker it up. Thanks for the money, dummy.
Because that's exactly what you fucking are. All right, so next up we have 100%
love you, Naomi. Thank you. That's a Shem
100%.
reference.
Yeah, it's DSP. You're not a dummy. 100% proof that Noah's Ark departed from America. We've talked about this a couple of times tonight, so did you just want to go past this one? Because
yeah, we can skip
blah
it,
blah blah. We get it, which is great information, but we've already covered it. So we only have 3 left. Next up is downtown Miami's hidden tree of life,
Hang on.
which we kind of talked about a weeks ago with Halidar.
Yeah. JJ Recon with the 1080. Appreciate that. Angel numbers up the wazoo, bro. Hell yeah.
JJ, if you're free next week, come on my channel, talk about the archaic situation if you don't mind. I'm gonna have Phoenix Protocol on as well. Let me know if you're free next week at all.
Nice. JJ Recon commented, super chatted, in times of degeneracy, disobedience is duty. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Appreciate it, everyone. All right, keep it going.
Yeah, so downtown Miami's hidden tree of life.
Miami, Florida, is a city full of ancient secrets. Would you believe me if I told you that amidst the skyscrapers and concrete jungle, one of the largest trees on Earth lies hidden smack dab in the center of downtown Miami? Bayfront Park is one of the most frequented destinations in all of Miami, but even the locals are largely unaware of the giant concealed within. Tucked away in a piece of the park that is not always open to the public, stands what appears to be the largest baobab tree in all of the continental United States. Widely regarded as a literal tree of life, legendary baobab trees like this one are not even native to Florida, but rather parts of Africa, Arabia, and Australia. You may recognize them from The Little Prince or movies like Madagascar and The Lion King. This begs the question, how did an exotic, gigantic, and seemingly ancient tree come to grow in downtown Miami, a city that's only been around since 1896? Being such the notable landmark that it is, I was perplexed to discover that no information is available online concerning the Bayfront baobab, so its origin truly is a mystery. In a previous video of mine, we discussed the mythological and religious symbolism of baobab trees, known as the Kalpa Vriksha, after becoming aware of 5 similarly undocumented trees in downtown Hollywood, Florida, and a couple others in Miami. But at that time we had no idea that an even larger baobab existed in Bayfront Park. In this presentation, we'll tackle the mystery as to how baobab trees came to Miami, the spiritual significance which they offer to Florida, and how to find the tree yourself if you're interested in visiting. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own. Now enjoy.
Yep. Fire.
Another good one. And we got the circle in Miami that has. We're gonna find that real quick. Anything you want to briefly summarize about this video before we move on?
No.
All right, so next up we have the Turks of South Carolina and Ancient America, which is another good one.
Oh yeah. There's also uncharted territory on YouTube. No, like nobody is talking about this on YouTube.
Except for me 1 year ago with the video on my page, Shem Jacobs.
Yeah, right. So guys, like exactly. Literally nobody has done.
The good one.
No, I said
Have you ever wondered?
I said a literal nobody.
Why the flag of South Carolina looks like the flag of Turkey and many other Islamic nations. At first glance, it may seem like a meaningless coincidence, but what if I told you that this is merely the tip of an iceberg regarding the hidden Turkish history of America? Did you know that a sizable population of darker-skinned Turkish people have resided in South Carolina for hundreds of years, whose origin is both mysterious and controversial? In 2014, the president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, shocked the world by openly asserting that it was Muslims who had discovered the Americas centuries before Columbus. It just so happens that one of the oldest maps to ever depict the American Southeast was produced by a Turkish admiral, inscribed in the Turkish language. Other early maps depict Turkish or Ottoman flags across the American Southeast. And since we're on the subject, have you ever given much thought to how the turkey, a bird native to the Americas, got its name? The same goes for corn, pumpkin, and tobacco, which for some reason the English long assumed were Turkish in origin. Most Americans are taught that before the doomed English Roanoke colony disappeared without a trace on the Carolina coast in 1590, it had been previously relieved in 1586 by Francis Drake, the famed English privateer. But rarely is it mentioned that Drake had brought over 200 Turks and Moorish Muslims with him. We also need to remember that Charleston, South Carolina, was the primary port of entry for Africans sold into slavery, 10 to 15% of whom were practicing Muslims, thus making South Carolina the cradle of American Islam. As far as the Sunshine State is concerned, many people forget that South Carolina, along with the entire Southeast United States, was once known as La Florida. New Smyrna, Florida, believed by some to be the oldest city in the United States, happens to be named for a Turkish city. Some of Florida's most historic buildings are even designed in the Turkish architectural style. Could these have been the inspiration for the map printed by Life magazine in 1916, depicting what America would look like if the Central Powers were to win the First World War, with Florida allotted to Turkey? In this video, we will prove without a shadow of doubt that there has been a Turkish or Ottoman presence in the Americas all along, one that has largely been swept under the rug. This presentation is dedicated to the land of four seasons, Old Byzantium, and the vicinity which Noah is said to have landed the ark. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own. Now enjoy.
Nice. Another good one. Anything else you want to cover in this video?
No. We can talk turkey another time.
Yeah, I just want to prove.
I don't want to go. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Just shut,
Look at
just
that.
shut the fuck up.
Number
Just shut
10,
the fuck up.
2023, lost Ottoman and Carolina settlers in America. That's from me. No one watched it.
Yeah,
You're correct.
but you don't
You're
talk
correct.
about the South Carolina Turks, do you?
I do.
No, do you?
Not in the way that you do. You bring a lot of great new information, but someone did talk about it, even if that someone is a nobody.
South Carolina Turks, the Turks of Sumter County you talked about?
No, not the same interviews that you brought up, which are, I wish I did because it's fascinating, but no, I did not. All right, so last but not least, we have the latest video exploring the world's most Illuminati hotel.
Hell yeah.
Anything you want to summarize before we get started?
Nope. Alan Faina is.
Did you know that there is an entire district of Miami Beach overtly designed according to the principles of alchemy and Freemasonry, owned by one of the richest men in the world, created for the purpose of experimental cultural programming? The centerpiece of Miami Beach's Faina district is the occult-inspired 5-star Faina Hotel, which opened in 2015. Among Faina's guests and permanent residents can be counted many of the wealthiest and most influential people in the world, not to mention the caliber of artists who perform in residency. and regular exhibitions from the likes of Marina Abramovich. Everything at the Faina, from the interior artwork to its street address, is steeped with esoteric symbolism. But esoteric might not even be the right word to use, as all the symbolism at the Faina Hotel is very in your face. To put it plainly, the Faina is like the Denver airport of hotels. In 2017, the Faina Hotel was voted the #1 hotel in America, yet most people in Florida have never even heard of it. I recently had the privilege of spending an entire day at the Faina Hotel, and you won't believe just how many rabbit holes we found. I first heard of the Faina during the preparation for my ancient elephant video, after discovering that there is a one-of-a-kind, gold-plated skeleton belonging to a real-life mammoth, valued at $25 million on the property. And to speak of the devil, when we follow the money, the rabbit holes only go deeper and deeper. Make sure to stay tuned until the very end for all the little Easter eggs and an up-close view of some restricted areas. The views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect my own. Now enjoy.
Hell yeah. All right, we're all caught up, people. There's 2024 in review.
Good year. Lots of information. Everyone else is focused on trying to just repeat the same shit over and over again. Saying they without ever looking into who they are.
Yep. I hate to agree, but it's the truth. A lot of fucking Gnostic fabulators out there in their mom's basements fucking pumping out content. I'm talking to you, Robert Sepper.
I feel like Robert Sepper knows what's going on, but he just doesn't.
Dude, his books are so shitty.
It's a word on shit. I have never read one.
They're pretty good content, but the quality is fucking terrible.
I'm more concerned about the people who have been talking about star forts and Tartaria, and they're like, "Oh, why are these doors so big?" I've been talking about this for 8 years, and I say they, and I claim that Jewish people have a monopoly on the world, but I've never read the Jewish text to realize that.
Okay, we get it. You done, Shem? You want to check under your bed, make sure the bank teller isn't under there?
No, I'll be looking forward to in 6 months where you post a video about what I was gonna say.
Barney Boyle with the $4.99. Forrester here. Love your tree content. Just showed the Baobab video to some coworkers last week. Some of that old logging footage was hard to watch. Oh yeah. Thank you, Barney. Appreciate it. Keep on keeping on. Keep our forests nice and tall. Appreciate it. All right, Shem. Can you go 30 seconds without going, choose, der? I know you're addressing a real problem.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's just information. It's the same thing with like the Illuminati hotel thing. I was trying to show you the symbolism of the hotel. I got cut off. Then you did like 2 shows about the symbolism of the hotel afterwards. I'm just like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, can't fucking say shit.
I love you, man.
Love you too. Shout out to the
okay.
chat.
What's where should we take it this year, guys? Let's see some recommendations. Drop some comments. What do you want to see this year? I don't have my van, so I'm not traveling as much as I was the last 5 years. Now I just have a house by the bookstore, but I can make do. So hit me with some good ideas. That is why the content has slowed down a little bit. Not on the road like I was. That ended like 6 months ago.
Epstein Island. It's definitely not going to be monetized.
Yeah, what are people saying?
We got Lincoln's Jewish boyfriend, Epstein Island. More about the Creeks than the Greeks. That's about it so far. Jewish Dramachia. Part 2 of the Knights of the Golden Circle.
Yeah, people are launching fireworks. Part 2, Knights of the Golden Circle. Someone said that.
Yeah, you could do more of a focus on South America for the next one, I guess. Because it did include...
I think I might just do a shorter video about it, like a under 20-minute breakdown of the whole thing. Instead of playing other like videos and old excerpts, I'm just gonna like sum it all up. Like Mr. Ballin style or some shit.
More giant content, The Age of Aquarius, which yeah, I have a lot to say about that one. No,
Okay, I'm seeing lots of good ones.
Amazing.
Nice.
I think you should just get super stoned, and then once per week you should scroll down Wikipedia and read videos in read articles in slow motion and play classical music over top of it.
Is that what John Levy does?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. It's John here. I just thought I'd look at these old buildings. But who knows? I guess I'll just go back to my cafe, have a cappuccino.
Did you want to check out the Archaics talking about you real quick before we sign out?
Oh, sure, yeah. Let's do it. You got that?
Yeah, 1 second.
You got that marked? Yeah, I got you. I got you. 1 sec.
There we go.
Well, I heard that these YouTubers are talking bad about me, but
John Levi, he doesn't give a shit. All right, so this is from earlier today. Archaics brings up Old Road, Florida.
I mean, we couldn't build this. White people didn't build this. Who built this? We don't know.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
We don't know anything. We really are just ants in a ant farm, just waiting for the next reset. Your ancestors were worthless, and we're all gonna get reset.
Do you want the full context or just specifically the part where he talks about you? It's 2 minutes before you come in if I play the full context.
Sure.
If not, all right, so 2 minutes in. Here we go. Let me know if it gets boring. I'll fast forward.
I have to tell you something.
Okay.
Morocco triggers me. All right.
Morocco triggers.
I'm going to tell you why.
Should. It's an interesting
place. I'm going to tell you guys why Morocco triggers me.
Oh my God! Holy shit!
I was sent a message that I needed to visit the Archaics Discord group because somebody named Adam Gaziri or something created the Archaics Discord group. I never asked for a Discord group. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know. And he built this group and had it going and started getting all this traffic to it. And I did several videos with the Archaics Discord group. And
yeah,
Phoenix Protocol, who I have X'd out of my community.
X'd out of his community, banished Aaron. Phoenix Protocol was on the video we did together. It's pretty funny.
His name is Clayton. It's so bizarre. This guy used to get counseling from Dawn because he's got some issues I'm not going to put out there. But he used to get counseling from Dawn.
Can't be worse than yours.
And he's been on
This chick over here.
many Archaix videos. You can still see him on Archaix TV on all the Discord videos. And he went by Phoenix Protocol. And
Still does.
Phoenix Protocol sent me an email and said, hey, there's these guys in Morocco, and Adam Gaziri, he's out of Morocco too, and they want a bunch of us errants in the Discord group to come to Morocco.
Hell no.
I'm like, hell no. I said, man, I've heard no good about Morocco. I've heard nothing but intelligence. I've heard nothing but intelligence agency apparatus.
Hang on, pause it real quick.
You can't even go to Morocco. You
Yeah,
can't even
this
leave
is-
the country.
I'm starting to feel like Morocco might have some sugar up in there, because Jason, the only thing Jason ever talks this badly about is Jesus. Isn't that hilarious?
Morocco and Jesus. Looks like
Morocco.
it's kryptonite.
Yeah, a Jack Daniel addict's worst nightmare. Jesus and the country of Morocco. Now, come on, man.
They ain't got no KFC in Morocco. How am I supposed to eat?
Morocco in the truther community. So right as this is going down, when I tell him, no, man, I'm not, hell no. I said,
Hell
matter of
no,
fact,
man.
I don't
Come
even really
on.
have much to do with the Archaix Discord. I'm not cool with none of this. I said, I don't even want to be represented. You need to take Archaix off of the Discord. Just take the name off. And this is why Phoenix Protocol went on Clayton, went on Old World Florida with
Hang on.
Targaryen Truth and others
Yeah, there we go. So
Yo.
Here we go.
of the Discord.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
take
man.
the name off. And this is why Phoenix Protocol went on Clayton, went on Old World Florida with Targaryen Truth and others, and then started making up all these weird sexually deviant stories. I'm talking about got real graphic. I should sue him, but I'm not going to.
Go watch him, guys.
I should sue him, but I'm not.
But you're
going
not
to.
going to, because it's literally almost pretty much 100% provable.
For anyone who doesn't know, they're talking. Phoenix Protocol said that Archaix got pegged by his girlfriend Dawn.
But got super graphic and invented a whole bunch of shit with sex toys and all that. Just made up stories in another barf parrot. You know what I mean? Another barf parrot.
He called you a barf. He called you a barf parrot.
Barf parrot? That's funny. He's a he's a prison pig. That's what he is.
A honey bun fiend.
Old World Florida, who doesn't provide any value to the community whatsoever. Top
Damn, Old Florida does not provide any value to the community whatsoever.
stories in another barf parrot. You know what I mean? Another barf parrot. Old World Florida, who doesn't provide any value to the community whatsoever. Toxic as hell.
There we go. For the people who can't hear, we just got the closed captions up there.
And he just let every single person that had a problem with Archaix all vent it out and just make up stories in one video. And
Right.
Phoenix Protocol was there, but it's
As if-
behind the Morocco issue.
As if they didn't.
Because when this
hang on,
was
pause it.
going on,
As if the people we let speak didn't spend months with you and like were under your tutorship and like fully bought into every single thing he preached, and kind of still do a little bit in some cases, that you just push them away, Jason. You push them out of your community.
Literally,
They loved you. They literally worshipped you.
literally over nothing. Just because he was bored one day, he had nothing else going on. That's what it comes down to. That's how paranoid this guy is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Then he goes on to talk about Daniel Mamhague, which he calls Daniel Momoa.
Come on, man. Old World Florida. Yeah, I'm talking about him. Okay. Now, what I do in the bedroom with Dawn, okay? So what if she pegged me? Come on, man. The Pegasus is an ancient symbol. It is an ancient device used by the ancients. The Pegasus Man, I've been riding Pegasus since I was 16. Man, I saved that lady. She's lucky I didn't make her peg me. I saved that woman.
Dude. The part in the Truthy stream we were talking about going through the drive-thru at KFC and the chicks in the trunk. This shit is so funny.
Yeah, I heard about the KGC. So what? The body is not limited to the physical. I am not limited to the physical. My crimes are ethereal by nature. Okay? KFC, that cannot hurt you, Errant. You are indestructible.
Did you ever hear?
Sorry, what?
Did you ever
What's
hear
up?
the story of why he believes, like he genuinely believes why he went to jail? Did I ever tell you that?
Come on, man. I told the prosecutor this. It was Johnny O'Connor and the boys went back in time to save me, okay? They knew I'm the only one who
Pretty
can
close.
save the future. I was
Pretty
in the
close.
Texas library, okay? I read it all, man. Get out of here with that, man. Who you think taught me how to peg, man? The warden himself. How do you think I gained access to that library, man? The same way Plato could access his goddamn library. Okay? You want to
Yeah,
read the
man.
books? You want to read the books? You got to spread the cheeks. That's how it goes, man.
Jesus.
These little barf parrots over in Florida, okay? Man, they don't know anything about knowledge, occult wisdom, dropping the soap, okay? Come on, man.
I'm gonna show up one day at his store and I'm gonna bring my cameras. Yeah, man. No, but seriously, did I tell you about why he thinks he went to prison?
Why?
He said that
Because
a
the
time
simulation attacked him. Yeah, I know.
yeah, the time traveling AI that went back in time and sent him to prison to prevent him from calling him out, like calling out the AI system. He calls it Roko's basilisk. And this is I know it sounds made up, but it's completely true. But all right, enough time for our cakes. We've given them enough airtime tonight. Shout out to the chat for being here. Shout out Dr. Narco Longo for a good 2024. Looking forward to 2025.
Did he say anything else?
That's pretty much it. He just went on to talk about Daniel Mamheg, what he calls Momoa. He says he's Daniel Momoa, and he's from Morocco as well, apparently.
Right.
He references the video that was posted on my channel
that he made
about Santos.
I mean, that was before you guys split up. You guys used to work together.
Yeah, RKX made that video. If you didn't see the ending of it, so.
Dude, can we put Sinking Ship back out, please? That shit is hilarious.
Might have to. I'll hit him up and see if he can email it to me, and maybe I'll post it in the next couple of days if he does.
Yeah.
But
well, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and go like and subscribe. Okay, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Get up in that simulacrum. Let's hack the matrix. Let's get beamed up to the mothership. We're going home, fam. Okay. Just kidding.
Be ready for 2040, which happens to be the same year that I'll be in retirement age.
Right. Well, who's the first one to put that together? Shem. Come on. Who's the first one to word it exactly like that?
You?
Yeah, bingo.
Is that spring water? Better be.
It is, yeah. It's in a plastic thing, but it's spring water.
Good. All right. Well, thanks for having me, dude. Appreciate you.
Thanks for helping me run it, dude. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Guys. See you soon.
Everyone have a great 2025. Adios. Good night.
Yep. Wild Indian, yeah.
AV, line them up. I'm a wild Indian, you know I go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Archaic's on the beat. Okay. Dr. Longo.
AV, line them up. I'm a wild Indian, you know I go crazy. Ain't really Indian, that boy fugazi.